Hello everyone there. We'll talk about the assessment tools, the assessment techniques in this videos as far as career counselings are concerned. Remember the assessment tools are required for your learning teaching process. That is very effective. So, first and foremost reasons of for assessment, we need to understand, we need to give the teaching to fit the needs and cognitive standings of the student as on why we are teaching. Should our teaching is producing enough productive result? Is it helping the student? Remember, it is a continuous process during the course. So elevate the gap. If there are gap between student understanding, student knowledge from an existing and the requisite uh, level, we need to address those gaps. We need to pin those gaps. We need to close those gaps of what has been taught and what has been learned. Now, there is, once we have identified the gaps of knowledge gap in existing, the teachers would love to address those gaps and close those gaps, but eventually it is up to the student whether they are able to comprehend and probably eliminate the gaps altogether by themselves, by with their understanding, with the effect or with the coaching that has been provided by their teachers. Angelo and Cross suggest that the optimal sorts of classroom assessment is learner centered, teacher centered, and mutually beneficial, formative, contextual, specific, ongoing, and firmly rooted in practice. Remember, Angelo and Cross stated approximately 30 years back. This is what they have said it in 1993. Altogether, that learner teacher learner experience is all about learner centered, teacher centered, mutually beneficial, formative, and context, should I say, specific driven, ongoing, and firmly rooted in a good practice. So assessment, it gives a regular feedback to the student of what they are doing, how they are doing, what is been lacking, and how what to address. Connect with the learners, create a sense of responsibility of learner in their work. Reiterate the course goals and objectives to make these explicit throughout the courses as on when on basis. Have reasons for appropriate and focused feedback through the semester. Now, this is what will help a learner pick up the speed of picking up knowledges, thereby understanding what is expected of them and probably enabling them to comprehend knowledge on their own. So why use different types of assessment? This is very pertinent question, because this will we need to understand that every learner, every participants are unique and they have different preferences, different abilities to learn, different learning preferences. We need to promote those greater amount of interaction and mutual communication, and remember the fact that learners or the participants are unique by themselves, and to their uniqueness we need to use different type of assessment to understand their comprehensive abilities about the knowledge that they have gained during the teaching learning process. Develop a deeper sense of learning and intellectual challenges in the learning community, evolves a greater sense of community and teamwork for constructivist learning and student retentions. We need to understand that. We need to promote a sense of individual identity, self expression, and self discovery. Support a professional field specific mindset and commitment to values and ethics per se. Master high technology for learning for researchers, develop more analytical problem solving, synthesizing, holistic thinking, inferences, drawing, creative thinking, application of logic, differentiations between the fact and the opinion skills, understanding the practical standards of learning, TLP, the teaching learning process, understanding the standards which we are setting around it with regard to these practices, measures, ethics, and others. What else? We are talking about listening skills, speaking skills, reading skills, writing skill, LSRW as the case may be. We are talking about communication as a holistic. There is an improvement in either of the skills, in all the four skills of listening, reading, speaking, and writing. Developing self management and leadership skills, supporting self efficacy, academic confidence and judgment, advocating field specific student outcome. Remember, what is field specific? Field specific might be scientific studies, field specific can be a sports studies, field specific can be fashion studies, field specific can be culinary studies per se, and their outcomes for every field that we're looking into it. Yes, we are talking about the Bloom's taxonomy, the gold standard for assessment, Bloom taxonomy, as in knowledge. Does the student gain knowledge? Do they have a comprehensive understanding of the knowledge? When I say comprehensive understanding, proper 360-degree understanding of the knowledge that they have gained. Can they apply their knowledge in the real life world? Can they analyze a situation via the knowledge without getting integrated into involved into it? Can they synthesize this new information with the on the basis of the existing knowledge that they possess? Can they evaluate a situation and can they add to the body of knowledge as in creativity? And this is what Bloom's taxonomy is all about. It initial points to consider in creating assessment, as in beginning with what you know and what you don't know. So what do you want to know? Is it accessible? That is what we are going to know about your knowledge level. Consider what is the best way to surface those information with the most efficient use of both student and faculty time, as in optimizing time of the faculties and the student, and at the same time gaining the knowledge. Consider what is the most fair, most objective and efficient ways to gain this information, as in how equitably it can be distributed, how transparent can be your evaluation be all about it, how will I use this information to enhance student learning, will this assessment benefit student learning in the first place. Standard for assessment, is it context sensitive? Will the assessment technique provide useful information on what a specific group of student is or is not learning about clearly defined topics at a given moment in a particular classroom? Is it flexible? Or should I say, is it possible to use a range of discipline per se, a mix of discipline, be it on a practical world, on a lab basis, on an experiential basis, on a case study basis, on a class lecture basis? So standards of assessment, is it likely to make a difference? You need to answer these questions. Does the technique focus on alternative variables? Is it mutually beneficial both to the faculties and to the students? Is it transparent? Is it equitable? Is it rational? Is it easy to administer? Because if it is, it should be easy to respond to. Is it educationally valid? It should not build in any personal biasness, or there should not be any room for personal biases. Does it reinforces enhanced learning and specific content of the skills being assessed? Let me giving you the planning, implementing, and responding skills. From step one, choose the focus class. What is it that we're talking about? The focus topic, the focus subject, the focus stream, the focus field per se. Step on the accessible goals or question. Step three, plan classroom assessment projects focused on the goals in the assessment. Teach the target lessons related to the goals, related to the question. Step five, assess the student learning, collect feedback from the classes, analyze the student feedback, interpret the results, formulas, and appropriate responses to improve the learning things. Step 8 is communicate result. Try out responses, and last but not the least is evaluate this project effectiveness on TLP, the teaching learning process. This will lead to me the 10th, the last step, follow up classroom research projects per se. Now, formal and informal assessment. We are talking about the formal is mandatory impact, which has been done on a monthly basis, weekly basis, or a quarterly basis, or even biannually basis, or annually basis, as the case might be. It can be through quizzes, tests, as in exams, assessment, assignments, term paper, lab report, homework, presentation, slideshow, experiment, fieldwork, as on when on basis. Next is informal. Optional is low impact or recorded or used in aggregate, as in online discussion, posted queries. Interaction between student peers in discussion, student initiated as well as faculty oriented. Comes automated or customized assessment. Let me talk about the automated or closed ended. A, B, C, D. You have four alternatives to answer it. Yes or no. Answer it. Pre-written, true or false, or MCQs, as the case might be. Customized is where the student choice around it. It is all about short answer question, essay question, papers, research projects, as the case might be. Now, what are my prior knowledge, recalling, and understanding, and how do we go around it? Let's say background knowledge probe is to determine what to begin it, where to begin from, what is the level of the learners have as far as knowledge is concerned, so that we can help them we can identify the starting point. Focus listing. Important points related to a topic. Misconception. Preconception check. Surface ideas that may hinder accurate further reading. Empty or partial outline. Comprehensive. Memory matrix. Categorizations of idea. Minute paper. Most important learning and what remains unanswered. Muddiest or the most confusion point, which was stated in by Angelos and Cross 1993. So yes, you're talking about background knowledge probe, focus listing, misconception, preconception check, empty or partial outline, memory matrix, minute paper, muddiest or the confusing points. Let us talk about the analytical aspects or the critical thinking. Now, can we have a grid as on the square plus grid? Explicit understanding of implicit categorizing ideas, people, objects, defining feature matrix, presence or absence of defining features, pros and cons of a grid, as in the cost and the benefits, the advantages and disadvantages of an issue of mutual concern, content forms and functional outcome. What, how, why of a mediated message of the communication savvy. Analytical memos, discipline and specific approaches, methods and technique for simulation exercises, again, which was stated by Angelo and Crosses. Let us come to the synthesis and creative thinking. This is a one sentence understanding, summary, synopsis, concisions and comprehensive regarding a lot of information. The word journal, choice of word to describe a short text and then a paragraph explaining the word choices. Approximate analogies, A is to B as X is to Y, as in the relationship. Concept maps, we are talking about drawings, we're talking about diagrams, invented dialogues, interviewing actual quotes from primary sources or reasonably invented quotes. Then we have the annotate portfolio, student work explanation, analysis of that work. We're talking about again stated by Angelo. So yes, one sentence summary, word journal, approximate analogies, concept maps, invented dialogues, and annotate portfolios. Remember, we're talking about creative thinking and synthesis. Let us jump to the analytical aspect, as in problem solving and metacognition. What are they? We're talking about problem recognition tasks, the principle, the techniques that is needed to solve a problem. What are the principle? The principle that causes the problem, the issues with the problem, the use and the principle to solve them. Document problem solutions thereby. Identify the steps needed to solve problems and then document those steps. Audio and videotape protocols, using videotape to see how students solve problems as on when on basis. So yes, for problem solving and metacognition, we are talking about problem recognition tasks, the principle thereof, the document problem solutions, audio and videotape protocols. Skill in application and performances, as in conditional knowledge, when and where to apply. Directed paraphrasing is ability to paraphrase difficult concept. Application cards, possible relevance and application of new knowledge. Student gathering test question, what student considers the most important learning, human tableau or class modeling. This is kinesthetic learning, if we may say so. This is theories and in practice. Paper and project prospectus, brief structured first draft of a plan for a term paper. So this is what we are talking in skilled in application. Remember the Bloom's taxonomy, and we are answering everything out here. Next is all about your attitude, all about your values, as in classroom opinion polls. Student pre-existing opinion that may distort or may block instruction. Double entry journals, relevant informations on one column and personal responses. Profile of admirable individuals, the motivators, the role models from a field, everyday ethical dilemmas, identify personal values to a course and a field related things, course related self confidence surveys, student sense of ability to learn relevant skills and materials as the case might be if we are looking into it. So yes, we are talking about attitude and values. We need to have an opinion poll in the classroom, double entry journals, profile of admirable individuals, everyday ethical dilemmas, and course related self confidence surveys. Comes self awareness as a learner. This is where the focused autobiographical sketches about yourself, about self concept, about self awareness, your interest, your knowledge, your skill checklist, student rating of interest. Let's say the topics of his or her own respective levels, goal ranking and matching, degree of fit between the student personal learning goal, teachers' courses, specific instructions, goals, and their respective ranking of the relative importances and the difficulties of the goal, self assessment of the ways of learning per se, the types of learning preferences thereby. Now, let us come to the course related learnings, the productive study time blocks, thumbnail records about how much time is to be spent on a particular coursework, punctuated lectures, not the full lectures in one go. In between, there are breaks on the spot querying about how students are learning. From online lectures, demonstrations, offline lectures, in practice laboratories, practical examinations, for asynchronous online only. Process analyst, actual steps student take during academic work. Diagnostic learning logs, main points not understood. Again stated by Angelo and Crosses. Next is all about reactions of teachers, probably of their teachings, as in chain notes, starting a word file, having people add it to one long response. Electronic mail feedback, probably yes, feedback can be posted and probably garnered through online fashion question post about the classes with immediate responses. Teacher designated feedback forms, mid course adjustment, group instructional feedback technique, what works, what doesn't, what can be done to improve upon it. Classroom assessment quality circles, group learners sharing insights, online discussion, and collective insights forwarded to the class and instructor thereby. What are we talking about it? RSQC2. What we this is all about recall, summarize, question, comment, and connect. This is what we occur RSQC2. If we can recall what has been learned, summarize what has been taught, answer all the questions that can be given, raise comments, and connect. Instructor recall of the session via versus student recall. Group work evaluations. Yes, assessment of cooperative learning. Rating sheets, reading rating sheets, student evaluation of their own course readings, assignment assessment, learning values of homework and projects from student perspective, exam evaluation, effectiveness of exams as on when on basis. Last but not the least are the other approaches to assessment, student choices, selection of a variety of work with points attached as a final grade, extrapolated from the total. Then we have the group assessment. A group assessment is the work of a group responses used by a student for their own learning and self-awareness. With this, I come to an end of this assessment presentation. Thank you for watching this video till the end.